passion for racing. It's what excites me. It's what I dream about. I look at a race car and I get excited. When it cranks up and the engine's roaring, I get really excited. When I get in it and I go around the racetrack and it's running beautifully, it's running to perfection, and I'm driving like nobody's ever driven before, it's gratification. It's all the things to me that put it on. It's like a coat. It's like my favorite sport coat. I put it on, and when I put it on, I look good. That's what it is to me.
On Sunday, November 19th, 2000, Darrell Waltrip was scheduled to start his final race. Rain prolonged the fateful day for 24 hours, but fellow Winston Cup champions had a chance to gather and salute DW on one of the best careers in NASCAR history. Join us now for some fun and caring as we present Darrell Waltrip a champion salute. Here's Jerry Punch.
All right, we'll move in here with old DW and Darrell. A very special day, an emotional weekend here for you, I know, and for all of us at ESPN and for the millions watching at home and the hundreds in the garage area. It's sad to see you go, but so many great memories. 84 Winston Cup victories and 809 starts as of today, I should say, as of tomorrow here in Atlanta. Your thoughts about what's been an incredible career?
Well, the days like today are, they make you feel good, and then they, same breath, they make you feel sad, you know. Leaving all this behind, the people and the feelings that they have about me and about our sport, and to come around someone on their last race and honor them this way it's very gratifying. And my children are here, Sarah and Jessica and Stevie's here, and a lot of my friends, and they came just to be here for the last race. And of course, my best friends are right back over here in the corner, and that's what I'm going to miss the most, is hanging out with that bunch of guys right back there.
Well, let's bring that bunch of guys in. Let's start out with the first guy who's going to come in, and everyone knows him as the 1989 Winston Cup champion, Rusty Wallace. Rusty's coming up to make a presentation to old DW.
And before Rusty gets started, let's go back and review a fateful 1989 Winston.
Darrell Waltrip in the fourth corner now. Wallace comes down low again. He puts the tire. Waltrip loses it as they touch. Waltrip spins it backwards across the grass as they come to the white flag. No, the yellow flag comes out. The yellow flag comes out.
I mean, that's no kind of race to be playing that kind of game. Should have gone back to the last green lap, put me back in front. I just hope he chokes on that 200,000. That's all I can tell him. What are you going to do, buddy? Give back my 200,000?
Hey, that was 250, and I didn't choke on it. To DW, just to remember, a reminder of that wonderful year. I wrote on here, too, Darrell, enjoy your retirement to the fullest. I see you're still trying to back in. Congratulations, buddy.
Oh, thank you, Rusty. You know, that's what I'm going to miss the most, is the fun that we fight like brothers, and we all don't always agree, but in the end, at the end of the day, we look at each other and say, you know, I slipped up a little, didn't I? Yeah, I got into you a little, didn't I? And you both walk away saying, you know, we could have done that a little differently, and it's forgotten. And as much fun as we've had with this through the years, it's been 10 years, I could have done something differently, and maybe it never would have happened.
Well, probably me also.
Okay.
So we don't want to admit it.
We finally agree on something.
All right, Rusty Wallace, the first one to come up as he makes a presentation and gives Darrell the $200,000 he took away from him in the Winston back in 1989. Okay.
I pulled it all out of my mouth because I was choking a little bit, and I had to give that to you, buddy.
Thank you very much. I'll cherish this. There's probably a real dollar down in there somewhere.
More Darrell Waltrip, a champ.
1980s, he grabbed 3 NASCAR Winston Cup titles. He capped off that decade of 57 victories with the Daytona 500, which he finally won after 17 tries in car number 17. Holding the record for the most NASCAR wins in 4 consecutive seasons, Darrell Waltrip.
All on that evening, Waltrip was honored as driver of the 80s. Up next, the driver of the 90s, Dale Earnhardt.
Well, I got a lot to say about this guy because I got a long story here. I used to drive for this guy. I actually worked for him before he worked for me, and he fired me. And it was after I tore his race car up, and we got pretty competitive after then and started racing against each other. I won a championship before he did. I told him about it. And then he won 3 more. Then he won a Daytona 500, and I didn't for a long while. And he told me about that. And we argued about it and talked about, well, so when we retire, we can sit on the porch and talk about how many races, how many championships I've won. And he said, yeah, and you've never won the Daytona 500. So we talked about sitting on the porch and talking. And since he's retiring, I think I'd got him a little something here for the porch. And I brought you a little...
Man, that ain't near as good as the last seat you gave me.
Well, you can get a head start in the rocking chair here, Darrell. And you know, when I do retire, and NASCAR is not going to put a mandatory 50-year-old retirement deal out there.
I did that for you, buddy.
No, don't do me no favors. But you get me a rocking chair, and then we can kick back and rock and talk about the rest of these guys and what they're doing wrong. But I've enjoyed racing with this guy, so many races, and we've argued a lot, run into each other a lot, had a lot of fun. But he's a true champion, and got a great family, Stevie, and the kids, and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of memories. Don't talk too bad about me next year. I did hire your brother, you know.
I'll keep an eye on you, buddy.
I did hire your brother, you know.
I'll take that into consideration.
All right, Dale Earnhardt making a presentation to Darrell Waltrip.
I just want to say that they asked me yesterday morning over at the media breakfast if there was anything that people maybe didn't know about me. I'd always been so open and shared all my feelings and whatever I thought. And they said, was there anything that we don't know about you? And I thought about it, and it was, yeah, I really like Dale Earnhardt.
You want to sit on Grandpa's lap there, and
you see how he fit right in there?
that's the fastest he's moved in quite a while. Okay, next up, two-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion Texan Terry Labonte comes forward to be able to greet Darrell Waltrip and say goodbye. Here is Terry. We'll bring Terry up to the microphone.
My buddy here brought me something to eat.
Well, I tell you what, Darrell, it's been quite a tradition with Kellogg's making a championship box, and since Kellogg's wasn't in business back when you won your championship, I talked to my buddies down there, and they made a special box to commemorate all 3 of your championships.
Thank you. That's really neat. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Darrell.
Thank you very much. That's really special. Thank you very much. I don't have to tell you that Terry Labonte is one of the nicest men in Winston Cup racing. And even though I spun him out at Bristol when he was leading the race, he knows it was an accident. And it was but I felt really bad. I told Stevie when the race was over with, I said, I spun Terry out and he never even mentioned it. And of course Dale was responsible for that. But I tell you, that's kind of the year you're having when you spin out the leader of the race and he doesn't even remember that. So nonetheless, he is one of the nicest men in racing. And his family, his brother, I love both of them. Their dad, I mean, they are what NASCAR is all about. When we talk about a family sport, yeah, the people over in the grandstand think we're talking about them, but really and truly we're talking about the guys over here on this side of the fence. That's where the family is.
And there was no better moment this year with family than at the qualifications for the Brickyard 400 when Darrell Waltrip broke the track record and was greeted by little brother Michael. Champion salute to Darrell Waltrip. Next up is 3-time Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon.
I'd say Darrell's been quite an inspiration to all of us, but, you know, he's much more than just an incredible race car driver. He's an incredible person, as we all know, and I admire you most for your family values and the things you do off the racetrack. Darrell and I had the honor to be a Person of the Year with Darrell a few years back, and this is a picture that they took when we were tugging on a steering wheel. And just wrote on there, thanks for all the great memories and for steering NASCAR to the top, because I feel like Darrell's played an intricate role in NASCAR's growth to this unbelievable sport that we are all part of. So thank you very much for that. I've got a couple things. I'll never forget, before I came into Winston Cup, standing on top of a tower at Bristol, I think it was '92, and watching this guy wear them out on the top groove, or about the middle groove. I don't think there was a top groove then, but it was unbelievable watching that. And, you know, I just was amazed at the talent and the things that he did. And then, since you were talking about wreck and carry, one of my worst moments in my career in Winston Cup was one day at Dover. Darrell was running really good. Yeah, he was running fourth. I think he led some that day, having a great day, and I ruined it. I was torn up, and he was going by me, and I totally misjudged it, clipped him right in the left rear, saw him go right in the wall, and it was the worst day I ever had, Darrell. You're the last guy anybody would ever want to wreck.
I'm glad you remembered that. I didn't know if you remembered that or not.
Congratulations on everything. We're going to miss you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. See, the thing that really aggravates me and probably most of us down here in the garage area is when you have someone like Jeff Gordon, who is probably, in my opinion, the classiest guy that has come into this sport yet. And I'm sorry to the rest of you, but that's just how I feel. I've known y'all a lot longer than I have him. Maybe that has something to do with it. But, you know, when people ask you about Jeff, and you say, you know what really makes me mad is he's really as good as you think he is, and he's really a special person, and he does a lot of really neat things that people don't know about or else they just don't care about. But he is a classy young man. He has a beautiful wife, and he makes lots of money, and most everybody in here is pretty envious of him, and that's probably his biggest problem. But thank you, Jeff. I'm glad you remembered that Dover incident, because I thought I may have to remind you of it. Thank you.
Very kind words from a legend to a legend still in the making. Next up, 1999 Winston Cup champion Dale Jarrett.
Darrell, I thought about this as I knew about what we were going to do, is what would be really special. And of course, we all know that what a great job you've done for us as a champion and a true champion in our sport, and really have done what our sport needed at a time that it really needed it most. But I think the thing that struck Kelly and I the most in our family, this is a Crystal Cross for you. And I can give you about a night, matter of fact, it was right before my very first Winston Cup race, as we were in Nashville racing a bush race, coming back to Martinsville to run my first Winston Cup race. And I was with Darrell, and Michael was on the plane, and that was about the end of all of our careers. And we had a tough time landing that night, and we would have loved to have had that cross and many more to get through that night. We were having a tough time, but it's something I'll always remember. But I think the thing that we remember as a family, and most people the most, is that you made this not only a great sport, but you made it a place that our children can grow up in a Christian atmosphere. You helped bring that to our sport, and I don't think a lot of people at that time, surely, and even today, they have a hard time getting the idea that we can have these auto races in this competition and still have a Christian atmosphere for us and for our children to grow up in. So thanks for everything that you've ever done, for putting us here, and for allowing us to be a part of this and be a part of you and your family's wonderful life. Thank you.
Thank you. When I think about Dale Jarrett, I just think about perseverance, which is something we all need, particularly those of us that are Christians and everybody in general. But I've seen Dale go through some pretty steep, some pretty low lows, and certainly accomplish some pretty high highs. And I've been glad to be able to stand by him, and I think he's a great guy, and I love to see what he has accomplished, because I know there was a time when there was doubt in his mind, and I've always encouraged Dale to just keep doing what you've always done, because he was a winner everywhere he went. Every car he ever drove, he won in, and he's proven now to be a champion and a winner as well. So one of my favorite people.
We'll hear from awesome Bill Elliott and the 1985 battle with Darrell when we come back. Here's Bill Elliott.
Well, you know, I know why the race was postponed today. God knew that it was going to take you all day to get through this. I know that in my heart, you know. But anyway, you know, everybody's talking about how nice Darrell was. I knew him at a time when he wasn't so nice.
Well, it wasn't nice to you.
You know, and Stevie and I were just talking about it over there. She said she felt like, let me see if I get this right, she'd been married to 2 men named Darrell Waltrip.
2 different men, yeah.
2 different guys named Darrell Waltrip. But anyway, back in '85 when we were running for the championship, I got to know old Darrell, old DW, real well. And we were running for the championship out in Riverside in
front row
in '85.
That
and I broke his shifter part. You know, and I got back home, and I kept hearing it was made in Franklin, Tennessee. And I got back home, and I inspected the box, and lo and behold, in the bottom of the box was an inspection slip, and it had it inspected by DW. I think it had something about and JJ on it, but I'm not sure. I couldn't read those deals. But anyway.
It didn't happen that way.
But it says, key to Darrell Waltrip's 1985 Winston Cup Championship presented by me.
No, thank you, Darrell. Now I want you. Here's what Junior would have said. Boy, you was a little bit too hard on that shifter. That's what Junior would have said. And by the way, these parts were made in Franklin, Tennessee. Unbeknownst to me. I mean, I didn't have any idea that they were made in Franklin, and certainly I would have never thought about something made in Franklin breaking. But you know, because of course I was always pretty impressed when Bill and Ernie and that crowd came on the scene at that time with a family-run operation, and for Bill to get out there and be able to do the things that he was able to do, and basically did most of the work on the car itself, that was pretty impressive. And lo and behold, if I didn't find myself battling him pretty hard in 1985. He won 11 races that year, and the Winston Million, and I mean, you run second to Bill every week. That was just what you did. And so I remember at Daytona, told Junior, Junior said, you're gonna have to keep up with that 9 car now, because don't let him get away from you. And I said, let me tell you something, June Bug, I'll be right on his bumper. I was on his front. He was on my back bumper, and it was his front bumper. He was coming around to lap me is what it was. And that's the kind of year he had that year. But had to pull out a lot of stops there to win that championship. And it was a little hard on old Bill, but he learned from it. I think he gained a lot from it, and he went on to win one in '88. And for that, I'm most happy, because he would have really not liked me if he never won one.
Darrell and Bill shared another distinction. They were both owners and drivers.
You know, I just need more horsepower. I don't have enough horsepower to qualify good.
And this is a driver talking. Now, let's put on the owner's cap, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Now then, what's the problem?
Here, let me put on the owner's cap.
Well, what the problem with that driver is he won't drive. You know, he's not a very good qualifier, and he can't drive. That's what's wrong with him. We're gonna take a look at him here before long if he don't get picking up a little bit on qualifying. We got to pick up on qualifying.
And zeal for life to his younger but not so little brother, Michael.
Well, Darrell, as any brother would do, I brought you on this great day for you. I brought you a wonderful picture of me. Isn't that nice?
I love that, man.
This is my favorite picture, favorite moment of this career of mine. I was going to say illustrious, but I think I'll just say career. This made all the struggles and everything that has been so difficult for me at times all worthwhile, and it came just simply from a hug from my brother, and that's a special feeling. I wanted you to have that. Plus, I don't know if you remember this, but in 1986, I was in Riverside, California, and I never had borrowed any money from you or bothered you for anything, but I didn't have no money, and I needed to get home, and I got $200 from you, and I said, I'll pay you back. And so there.
Wow. Wow.
That's...
Came at a good time.
Yeah. I realized you're retiring, and I threw in for interest from some Sambo's Tavern.
Free lunch?
Free lunch, yeah, and you can... And I wanted you to treat them to your buddies. There's from Rusty and Dale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just give those to all the guys. And just remember that when you were retiring, old Mike was there with a little bit of pocket change for you. And but
something to eat and a little money, buddy. You don't get no better than that.
You're all set.
That's family right there.
I just wanted to thank you for the guidance and the inspiration that you were to me. You didn't even know it. You were off rubbing fenders with Richard Petty, and you were rubbing fenders with Bobby Allison and these guys. And I was sitting back at home in Owensboro, Kentucky, watching all this from afar, and it instilled something in me that I could have never went somewhere and purchased. It instilled a desire and a goal for me to one day be like my big brother. And the way you turned out, you know, that's a great thing to be.
That was, Indianapolis was a special moment, I tell you. When I was coming down that pit lane and I saw Michael, it reminded me of that movie 10 when a little guy was running toward Bo Derek, you know, and they were in slow motion, you know, and he just couldn't wait to get there. But it's really special for all of us guys that have, whether it's sons or brothers or whatever, out here to be able to spend time with them. Not so much compete against them because that's our job. But to spend time together. Michael and I are 16 years apart in our age, and so we were obviously always at different ends of the spectrum, but we've been much closer these last few years than we ever were before, and that's good news because we've needed each other a lot more than we ever have before. Our dad passed away this year, and I wish he was here, and Mom's at home, and our sisters, and our other brother Bobby, but it's good to have your best friend, your best buddy that you can always go look for when you need a couple of $100. So I love you, man.
Yeah, thank you. I love you too.
Memories of Darrell Waltrip. ESPN's very first race was March 1st, 1981, and Darrell Waltrip won at Rockingham in front of 8 million homes. Tomorrow, he will make his final start in a 30-year career here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in front of 80 million homes. For all of us, for the millions watching at home, and for everyone in this room, including the other champions, DW will always be #1. He's a champion and always will be.
And the love that race fans have for Darrell Waltrip and the love that he has for racing will go on forever. Generations to come will look upon him as a great driver, ambassador, husband, and father. The icky shuffles may be over, but not the memories of one of NASCAR's greatest competitors ever.